All right, here we are for lesson 1 in our next unit, which is our 10.2 with the Enlightenment and the French Revolution. So looking at the vocab for lesson 1, we have Enlightenment, the intellectual movement of the late 17th and 18th century, emphasizing reason and individualism rather than tradition. So when we are looking at these things, what I want you to focus on is the idea that we are going to emphasize reason. Okay, that is our key thing. That is what they're going to be looking for and talking about, and that they are dealing with the 17th and the 18th century. When we think about centuries, we're looking at subtract 1 to get to the year, so the 1600s and the 1700s. Okay, you have to know what natural rights are. When we're looking at this list, natural rights as well as social contract, those are our key ideas, okay? So natural rights are the rights that belong to the people by nature simply because they're human beings. So when you have natural rights, you get them just because you are born as a human. We're going to get to John Locke in a minute, but there are 3 natural rights. They are life, liberty, and property. These are 3 things that the government cannot take away from you. No one can take it away. And if they do, then it's a human rights violation. So sometimes our natural rights are also referenced as human rights. Social contract, an agreement in which people give power to the government in return for its protection. So when you have a social contract, all right, a contract is an agreement. So this word contract tells us that it's an agreement. But that is when people are going to give power to the government. They give government the authority to be in charge in return for the protection, and specifically the protection of your natural rights. Separation of powers, the division of powers among branches of the government. Okay, so we have that in our country, judicial, executive, legislative, they all have that ability, they all have different roles and responsibilities. Enlightened despot, an absolute ruler who follows the Enlightenment ideas. So a despot is just an absolute ruler. So this is a person who has total control, who has total authority, but they're going to follow these natural rights, this social contract, separation of powers. They're going to maybe have a little bit more give and take. So with the list of Enlightenment thinkers, you need to write down their big main ideas. So he believes people deep down are evil and need a strong government to keep them in check. And his big idea is that he believes that an absolute ruler is the best form of government. He says that because he says that people are selfish and couldn't be trusted to make decisions for the benefit of the whole community. You must know John Locke. You have to know John Locke. He's got a bunch of big ideas, and these are the 3 big ideas right here. He believes in natural rights, life, liberty, property. And he says that it's the government's job to protect these natural rights, that the government has to protect the life, liberty, and property of people. And if the people don't have those rights protected, then the people have a right to overthrow any government that does not protect natural rights of its citizens. Okay, so we're going to look at John Locke every time we see government changing, French Revolution, Russian Revolution, when we look at the getting rid of apartheid, getting rid of imperialism, we're going to focus back on John Locke. So you have to know John Locke. He is key, he is key, he is key. Baron de Montesquieu, his big idea is the separation of powers. And basically that idea is that you're going to have at least 3 branches of government, 1 to make the laws, 1 to enforce the laws, and 1 to interpret the law or judge the laws. And it's going to be Montesquieu that's going to influence the United States primarily in the way that we form our country. But of these, all of these different Enlightenment thinkers, I really need you to understand Locke and Montesquieu. Rousseau comes up, his big idea is the social contract. And as a member of that society, he says that we promise to follow the general will, which basically what he means by that is the laws of members of society as expressed by the laws made by the government. And then we receive the liberty to do what we want so long as we don't break those laws. So with that social contract, we as the citizens promise we are going to follow the law. As long as we don't break the law, we can do whatever it is that we would like that makes us happy, that keeps us safe, that keeps us wanting to be here, so long as we do not instead then break the law. And the last one are enlightened despots. So they're the rulers who instituted reform, they had a lot of toleration, but they did not give up any power that would take away their power control. And our big example is Catherine the Great. You should write down at least one of these things to make sure that you understand an example of Catherine the Great. But she is our big example of the enlightened despot. She overthrows her husband, Peter III, and takes control of Russia, even though she wasn't Russian. Biggest things that she does is she gives schools for Russian women. She abolishes torturing criminals and allow them to subject worship anything that they would like, and created equal protection under the law.